world. The weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
Hello everyone and welcome to Country with Celine. I am your host, Celine Schmerke, and on today's episode we have country singer Jeff Catto, who's been singing for over 18 years with 15 charting singles on Christian radio.
Order up around life. It's a crazy mess, but I love it to death with you tonight. Got my partner in crime, all we got is this time. It don't matter win or lose, as long as I've got them and you, everything's good, everything's right. So order up another round of life.
Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. We finally got to do this interview. It's been a long process to finally get it done, but we're doing it, Jeff, aren't we?
I am excited about it.
Let's talk your latest single, your biggest latest single, Round of Life. How did that song come to life?
Well, I've got 6 kids, and you know, in the midst of COVID and having to stay home, and it was just seeing all the chaos around me all the time. And you know, if you were to walk into our house, sometimes, you know, I walk in and I go, man, this place is just like a bomb hit it, but it's just our kids and it's just living life and it's just craziness, right? So, you know, sometimes I think that we get caught up in trying to see what perfection is. But if you really look at what's going on around you, you know, one day you're going to miss all that craziness. So I decided to write a song for my family. So
Life flies by in the blink of an eye.
Like that.
Yeah. You have to cherish every single moment, even if it's like the smallest moment, like a blip that you think that won't be memorable. It's going to be memorable in like years from now when like that moment has passed, your kids or your parents have like got older. So age range, how old are your kids?
So I have a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and 5-year-old twins.
Your wife popped them out like one. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And actually the last 2 were a surprise because I was supposed to get snipped after our 4th. And the doctor couldn't come the day of my surgery. So we had to rebook it for 2 months later. And in those 2 months, we got pregnant with twins. So.
Wow. You have twins
Yeah.
too? That's a blessing. Are they like fraternal twins or like identical twins?
No, they're boy and girl.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
That's so awesome. That's awesome, Jeff. Wow, you have a busy house.
I do.
How did you keep them occupied though? Like, cause I know kids like attention span is literally like 2 minutes and then like they're over with whatever they're doing. How did you keep them occupied for all of COVID?
They're pretty good at keeping each other occupied, to be honest. Like, they're all pretty headstrong, and they don't really, to be honest, they don't really even ask us for like help, because like the next one up the chain will like help them get a snack or get the food, or to be honest, they just like climb up and get whatever they want, and so it's usually us telling them to put it back. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would have been like to have one kid during COVID, because that's the situation where you would literally have to make their fun for them. Whereas our kids were lucky; they're lucky to have each other because they've been able to play with each other. You know, when they do crafts, they all do crafts together, right? Like it's not just one person doing it. Usually somebody else will jump on that train too. So, I mean, got to give the credit to them.
Yeah, and having siblings, a lot of my friends, they have siblings and they're always like, oh, like they're so annoying. Like, I wish I didn't have a brother. I wish I didn't have a sister. I'm like, coming from an only child, trust me, I wish I was in like your shoes, because having a sibling is a blessing. Like it's a complete blessing. And I mean, congratulations to you for 6 kids. And imagine when they're like in their like teens, then you're going to have some fun when they're in their teens and they want to go to a club or a party.
Either that or a massive headache. But yeah, it'll be good. I have a lot of siblings myself, So I grew up in a large family, and just I guess the large family just kind of followed me. So
Yeah, and the weddings now, all of these 5 weddings. So have fun. Your family and now with their families, like, oh gosh,
I
imagine.
get 6 weddings.
Yeah, you got a lot of money you got to be throwing out there, Jeff. A lot of money.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to know you a little bit more. So where exactly did you grow up?
Owen Sound, Ontario. Yeah, so I grew up in a small town. Actually, a split time between Owen Sound and Toronto. My mom and stepdad have lived in like Thornhill area of Toronto for a while. But yeah, it's a small town just by Sauble Beach. I guess that's the biggest landmark, right? So but yeah, it was fun. It was awesome to be able to grow up in a small town and just have all the experiences that come with living on a farm yeah.
So what got you into music?
Uh well, I was dating a girl back in when I was like 16, and she wanted to go on Canadian Idol. So I went down as a tag along to get out of school, and I just found that I wasn't too bad at it because I ended up like participating and thought, oh, this isn't too bad. At the time, I wanted to be a football player, so when I realized that I was too small to play football and too slow, I figured that I'd try to give music a whirl, and it's panned out pretty good. So
Okay, so you went to Canadian Idol for your girlfriend at the time to audition. Why did you audition? What was the like, oh, what the heck? I might as well. I'm here now. Let's audition. How did that come up?
well, we were all in the very first audition that you have to do is out in a parking lot.
Oh, okay.
So I did the whole thing, like slept in the parking lot overnight, like but yeah, so the very first audition to make it through to the next spot was in a parking lot. So basically, I was already in the line, so I just decided, like, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
But I
fair.
was, but they were like, "Oh, you sing pretty good with the radio. Why don't, like, you could, go ahead and do it." And so I did it and made it through a couple rounds, and but yeah, that was just kind of a starting point for me. It was like 15, 16, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a moment that kind of solidified that you really wanted to become a singer. But did you make it to the TV rounds or no? Because I remember Canadian Idol was on like air for only a couple of seasons, and then like it was just gone after that.
Yeah. No, my family didn't sign the paperwork. Like, they didn't even know that and I wasn't of age to sign the paperwork. So it's a good thing
Oh,
I didn't make it past too many rounds. But yeah.
it's okay. You're still singing now.
Yeah,
So
no, that's true.
yeah, you didn't need Canadian Idol, see?
Yeah.
And musical influences. Who did you grow up listening to?
My folks have. I grew up listening to a bunch of different stuff because my parents. I mean, I grew up on listening to like swing music. I don't know if you ever remember like driving in the car with your parents and they put on like oldies,
Yeah.
like that was pretty much. I had no choice of radio station in the car. I think we're pretty hip because we listen to all like the cool songs these days, and my kids are like listening to this stuff. But every once in a while, we'll like turn on like the songs from like 2000s, and they'll be like, "What is this garbage?" But I mean, like, obviously country, blues, rock. I was in a punk rock band for a little while. So I mean, the everything kind of just
Hmm.
it's all over the board.
It's okay. A lot of artists that I've been like talking to more recently than before, when I ask them that question, a lot of them say like, "Oh, I listen to like everything. Like I grew up listening to even the Beatles, and then you go over to like the like Three Doors Down, or
Oh
then
yeah,
over to like Travis Tritt. Like it's like everywhere on like the map, which is I love that because like you need to be very diverse with like when it comes to music. I feel like because like if you just get glued in like one genre, then it's kind of boring. I mean, like,
yeah.
cool. I mean, if that's what you prefer, sure, go ahead. But like my personal opinion is like, yeah, it's kind of boring. So what else can fans expect from you this year?
Well, I have a new single coming out on September 10th, so very soon. It's called "I Want You Even More." And we just shot a music video for it as well, so I'm very excited about that. Um, got a bunch of tour dates that are coming up that that I haven't been able to announce yet, but I'm excited to get back out there and start doing stuff. And I've been very fortunate to write again with other country artists. Gotta say, like, the country community that is here in Canada is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Back when I was doing country music before, it wasn't like this. There wasn't a family, I guess, feel to it, and it was very unexpected to come back in and have such a warm welcome. So, yeah, just being able to write with new people, touring, putting out new music, gonna have some Christmas songs for people too. So, yeah, well, it'll be a good time.
So your new single coming out, is that going to be about your wife?
All about my wife.
All about you. I had a feeling. I want you even more. I'm like, definitely about his wife.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny. So we've been together, man, like over 10 years now, and like, I want her even more now than what I ever did, and it's just about that flame kind of never going out, regardless of all the craziness, regardless of time, and that it's just even stronger. So, but yeah, it's there. Actually, the project that this whole EP is about is called Songs for My Wife. So it's a 6-song EP that we put together, and it'll be coming out in January, I believe. But they're just songs for my wife and my family.
She must be so giddy. Like,
To be honest, I think that she's more annoyed with me than anything. But well, I mean, I'm the type of person that like sing songs about my day. Like my kids do the same thing, and she's like, I wonder where they get that from. But I'm sure that she's proud, but she's not one to kind of want the light, and
I get that.
So,
Yeah, she doesn't like that spotlight on her.
yeah.
Just like literally a couple minutes ago, you were just saying that something about country music. You were out of it for a while, and then you decided to get back in. How did that happen? Why did you leave? And then what made you want to come back?
Well, prior to I'll get a little bit faith-based here, but prior to becoming a Christian, I was a pretty not a nice dude. We'll say that. And when I was in country music before, it felt almost like I don't know. Let's just say I ended up putting on an event so that we could raise more money in order to compete with bigger artists and stuff, and I ended up losing $75,000. And I had a really bad. I was into booze and drugs pretty bad from touring and playing, and that I thought that was what life was all about. I thought that was what everything was all about. And after that event went south, I walked away from music for quite a while. And my parents were pastors for years, and when I was just a kid, they said, for those who are faith-based, that they felt like God had told them that I was going to be a worship leader when I was older. And so I was selling cars about three years after the fact that we had left home, and sold all my gear, hadn't played any music. And a pastor walked in and he says, Jeff, I don't know who you are, but you're supposed to be writing songs for Jesus. And so I gave my life to Christ right then and there. And so I started writing songs for Jesus. And I took every single thing that I learned from the country music aspect of things. I literally learned everything the hard way the first time around. And when I went to go start releasing Christian music, came easy. It was almost like everything that had happened just like set everything up for then. And I did really well with the Christian music. I charted in the top 10 every time I released a song. I toured. Right before the pandemic, I had 65 dates booked that I was ready to go out on tour with, and that closed everything down. And but as the pandemic went through and I was doing all this writing and stuff, I felt like I had stopped writing songs like for life, right? Like I had always written like worship songs and songs for people to help them get through their stuff. But I hadn't actually written a project for my wife, out of this whole time. And she was the one person to stick it out with me through all the crap and all the mud. And so, I just decided that, hey, I'm going to start writing some songs for my wife. And then I showed them to her, and she was like, why don't you release them as country songs? And I was like, you know what, I might do that. And, but it's really funny. People hear my story, and obviously this is just a small clip of what it actually is. But since coming into country music, I've been able to affect a lot more people in their decision making and just what's going on in their lives, just because like they hear my story and they go, wow, like you were that dude, now you're this dude. So it's been pretty neat just how God's been able to use my story so far in this time back around. And didn't mean to get all faith based on you there, but that's whenever anybody asks, the story of why I left and why I've come back, that's it. And Jesus is at the center of that. I was one way, and then the only thing in the middle was him. So
I love that story. I love that like you opened up about that story and shared that with like me and like the audience listening. There's a purpose for every part of life that like we go through, like every little thing that we go through, every obstacle, even though at the moment like we think it's kind of the end of the world, there's like a purpose for that. And like you just keep going and going along like your path, and eventually like what's meant to be will be. Like if you're not destined to be that type of guy, like how you were in the beginning, you'll come across like that moment in your life where it's like that crossroad where like, okay, wow, this is not who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like this. And like you said, that was when like Jesus kind of entered your life. I love that. I really do. I mean, for me personally, like my family's religious too. Like I'm a Catholic. So I went to like Catholic school, catechism, all that, communion, confirmation, all of that stuff. And my dad ended up passing away a year and a half ago. So it's almost coming up on 2 years in October. And like, I was always religious like before, but not that Bible religious, like, you know what I mean? Like that strict religious. Like I was never like that. But ever since like my dad kind of passed away, I've like gone more and more like onto that kind of route now, where like I actually like I'll talk to God. I wear like religious things now, like more than I ever did. It's just there's that turning point in your life where Jesus saves you, as like, cause like I thought my life was going downhill after like my dad, like I thought it was just done deal. Like I was just going to sink, but instead of sinking, I kind of rose up, and I'm forever grateful for like him for saying, I'm going to like cry. Like,
well, it's, you know what it is? It's I think that people often go like God's just a check-in or whatever. And be like, I want to ask you for all these things. I used to, cause I grew up as being in church. I used to be like, God, why aren't you making this happen for me? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And at the end of the day, it's about having like a relationship with God. It's like, he doesn't care, honestly, like he doesn't care whether or not your Bible, like whether or not you got every scripture memorized or whether or not you're speaking from the Bible at all. He just wants you. So that's actually my dad just suffered a massive stroke. Like last 2 weeks ago, they said that he would never walk again. When I went and saw him, he couldn't talk, and he couldn't move his arm, and he couldn't move his legs. And I just said, Dad, like you're gonna get out of this, and but like, you know, you obviously have some time to talk to God. So what's God telling you? And you know, they said that he'd never walk again, and 2 days later he's up walking. And right now he's walking without canes or anything. And he's in there with a whole bunch of people that have no hope, talking to them about Jesus, and they want to hear it. You know, they're experiencing a whole bunch of, you know, they're watching this guy just like miraculously get healed, and now he's walking around telling everybody about his friend Jesus, right? So it's pretty neat, and I'm glad, you know, not everybody can have that experience. Not everybody can, you know, it could have been a whole lot worse for him than what it is, but yeah, it's all in how you take it, and how you choose to accept how things have gone, right? So
That's beautiful. When you said that, I just got shivers like everywhere. Like everywhere. Like that's an amazing story. Wow, your father, that's a miracle. That is a miracle.
yeah.
People say miracles don't exist. Miracles do exist. They really do. And now getting back to you, we like took a complete detour, but like I loved it. I loved it. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. I call it Country with Celine Rapid Fire, and then just answer them. Okay.
Sure.
The first one: what is your favorite family vacation? Because I know you got a big family.
We haven't been on one because we have such a big family.
Like, driven somewhere, maybe, like not necessarily on a plane.
Where have we gone? We've moved a lot. So I mean, we enjoy what my daughter calls nap time drives.
Okay.
It's not a vacation, but it's something where like at night, like they'll get sleepy and they want to go for a drive. So we'll like take them out for a drive and like go get Timbits or whatever. And that's, I mean, yeah, COVID's kind of made it so we haven't been able to go anywhere. So
I love how you said go get Timbits. That's how you can tell that we're Canadian. Like,
yeah.
what motivates you to work hard?
At one point in my life, I had nothing. And I expected things to be given to me. And once you realize that that's not how life goes, you get up and do it, and you keep going, and then you have a bunch of kids who also depend on you, and so yeah, my kids, my family, my wife, and just you know, it's the shift. It's a shift. It just happens.
What song would you sing at karaoke night?
Friends in Low Places.
Of course. And what is your favorite song to perform?
Favorite song? Have you ever heard the song "Shirt" by Keith Urban?
Yeah.
I love that song.
And last one: if you were talking to a younger version of yourself, what would you say?
Smarten up. No, I tell them that you know, to be kinder to people, and to be kinder to yourself, and that you know, just got to keep working.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it. Thanks, Jeff. That was amazing. This interview was a lot like different than I expected it to go, and I'm all for it. I loved every minute of it. I really appreciate you coming on Country with Celine and us finally getting to chat a bit, and we should do this again soon, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep fighting. Fight for the joy that's coming. Fight for the hope that